All right. Welcome back. Welcome back. I was just telling Mitten this morning, I'm like, oh, I have such bad cramps. I just got my period. And I was so excited to enter the divine womb, and I'm cramping. And it reminded me of going into the womb has both magic and immense possibility and beauty, and also a lot of grief and pain and trauma. So that meditation for me really helped me just accept what's happening in my womb right now. And I am inviting you into my sukkah space if you are not in a sukkah, and also just look around at your space right now, and we'll energetically create a sukkah or a sacred space. This time in the Hebrew calendar of Sukkot, the sukkah has many different allusions. We see the sukkah as the wings of the Shekhinah, or the wings of the divine presence. We see many allusions to the clouds of glory, which were these like mythical clouds that journeyed with the Israelites in the desert. They're known as spiritual mists, the sukkah. And the one that we really wanted to focus on is the sukkah as the divine womb, the womb of God. And in Hebrew, the word for womb, rechem, has the same root as rachamim, which is compassion. Because what is a womb? It's creating space for another. And that's what compassion is. It's creating a vacant space for another. And so when we create this sacred space around us, we're allowing ourselves to absorb loving compassion from all sides. And while much of the year could feel linear, like we're receiving one way, Sukkot in this time reminds us, and the roundness of the full moon also reminds us, we receive messages from all directions, above, below, around us, within us. And so the Kabbalists teach that when we're sitting in the wings of the Shekhinah, the Sukkah space, physically or energetically, we are receiving the download of Amunah, or faith and trust, for the entire year, which is why many folks in this tradition don't leave their sukkah. They sleep in it, they eat in it, they do yoga in it, they work in it, because you're receiving, like from an umbilical cord, the rachamim, the compassion, the trust for the download for the entire year. And also, I love the Hebrew root of Amuna is M, which means mother. So if you can imagine, we're just sitting in the mother and receiving our trust. And especially as Mitten was talking about in the fall, when we have this fear of letting go into the darkness and into the descent. Right now, we get to build our reservoirs of trust to descend into the darkness. So that is this opportunity of the sukkah. I'm going to read a quote directly from the Zohar, from the Kabbalistic text called The Wings of the Shekhinah, and I'll put it in our chat also later. It says, "We ask the sukkah to spread itself over us and rest upon us and protect us as a mother protects her children, so that we feel safe on every side." So that's what we're doing. That's the goal, and that's what we're doing. And why do we come into the womb? We're not just coming into the womb just to feel good, even though it feels really nourishing and good to be in the womb. And it's amazing to feel compassion and love. But why are we spiritually doing this? And what is the actual work once we get into the womb? It is to come into this place beyond space and time to connect to our ancestors and our descendants. That is the womb space. We get to receive messages and downloads from our ancestors and the future descendants and any souls that are on the invisible realm, or any plancestors or any spirit guides that we have. If you remember at the new moon ceremony, I told you that this month of Tishrei, before the Babylonian exile, was known as the month of the ancients, the month of the strong ones. It is the month of ancestral connection. And so it is a Kabbalistic tradition every single day of Sukkot to invite in the Ushpizin, which means the spiritual guests or ancestors. And each spiritual guest brings in a certain type of nourishment, a particular divine energy. So, for example, yesterday we invited in the spiritual guest of Sarah, and she represents and brings the quality of chesed, loving kindness. Today, we invite in the matriarch Miriam, and she invokes the quality of strength and fire and boundary and passion and devotion. So every day we get to invite in a different Ushpizin, and also if it doesn't matter if it's in your lineage or not, because the veil is thinner to open up to any ancestors that are waiting to be called upon to give you messages and insights. So it's a time to open the pathway and call upon any ancestor that is willing to help you illuminate your path under the full moon. So that's the invitation. Once we come into the womb, it's really a practice of inviting and calling the ancestor and then listening. And if this is your first time doing it, I'll walk you through it. And it's not a one and done practice, but I'll show it to you together, and then you can continue throughout the rest of the month listening and receiving this insight. Okay, so we also have the 4 species that we're creating a spiritual space with. If you do not have the 4 species, any ancestral plant of yours is also okay, and a way to create a spiritual sanctuary around us. Disperse negative winds, it says in Kabbalah. We're like clearing and getting rid of any negative energy that is not ours. So before we go into the womb, we want to clear the space and create a sphere of joy, a sphere of protection with these 4 species. So we have the lulav, which is the palm branch, and we have the etrog, which is the citron fruit. We have the aravot, which are the willows, and the hadassim, which are the myrtle branches. So these are the 4 species. They connect to the 4 elements. We have fire, we have earth, we have the air of the myrtle, and the willow represents water. So unifying the 4 elements in us. It also corresponds to 4 body parts, like the spine of the lulav. We have the citron, the etrog, representing the vibrancy of the heart. We have the hadassim, which are like the eyes, and the aravot, the willows, which represent the lips. And as Mitten was talking about the harvest time, these 4 species are also harvested from very different landscapes in the world. And so they represent a harvest of many different places in our being. So the lulav comes from the desert, and that represents the parts of us that are maybe unfertile, dry, unrevealed, mysterious, not yet cultivated. The etrog comes from the coast, which represents those parts of ourself that are infinite and abundant and expansive. The myrtle comes from the Myrtle Mountains, so those like tall, revealed, strong places in ourself. And then the willows from the riverbeds, those fluid and moving parts of ourselves. So we get to really harvest all those places and see what needs to come into the light under the full moon. If you have your plants, I will just show you how we create a spiritual sanctuary, and you can do it with me. We're going to wave outwards to every side. So when we wave out, we bless the space, we clear something away. And then when we bring it into the body, we invite the energy from that space into us, because there's pools of energy all around us. So we're blessing that space, and then we're inviting it in right back. And we'll do that on every side. And then however you want to shake it, dance it, move it to create a sphere, and then sit in the middle. So I'll get up, and I like to bring them to center at my heart. If you have a willow, you can do this, or any plant, or even if you have your essential oil, you can just take your willow essence in your heart, finding your center column, uniting all these parts of ourself. And then we'll shake to the right, attuning to divine space to the right of us, clearing the atmosphere to the right, and come back to center, inviting in from the right side, then to the left. And just breathe as you shake, clear away, creating some openness to the left. Come back in. And then in front of us, the direction of Tiferet or healing in front of us. Come back to center. Then above us, bringing awareness above the crown, above the roof, above the sukkah, above the full moon, and back to center. Then below us, towards the earth, center behind us, and to center. And then just bring the plants in if you have. Sitting at the center of the spiritual space that you have created. Just breathing in all 4 of these plants. Allowing ourselves to receive from any direction. Maybe one direction is more available. Maybe there's a buzzing from the top, or an invitation to the right or to the left. Starting to feel held from all sides. And at the center, we'll invite in the breath, finding your presence in the center of this sphere of the sacred cube. So being both connected to ourself and also to the transcendent space around us. And as you begin to breathe deeper, you can let your breath bring you into trust. Trust in the descent into the unknown, into the darkness. The trust of letting go of the known into the darkness of the womb, into the unknown. And we can trust so deeply because we are held from every side with divine compassion. Almost like you're in a big embrace, a transcendent hug. Feeling the compassion from either side of you, from above you, from below you, behind you, and the breath within you. Where can you allow in this compassion A little bit more. Find it in your breath. Imagining that you are descending into the womb. You can even bring your hands on your low belly and move your awareness down into the womb space. And perhaps you notice the fear coming up or the resistance. And then just feel that hug around you, the transcendent hug, the divine embrace, the nourishment that we receive from all directions. And then breathe down into the womb. You might notice behind the eyelids start to become more and more black, being okay with the dark womb space. And in the womb, all parts of us are welcome. All parts of us are held. All aspects of self, all of our fears, they're witnessed with compassion, with love. All of us is welcome in the Sukkah. From your crown to your toes, from your joy to your grief. Every place of yourself is nourished from the darkness of the womb. And if your palms are on the womb, see if you can deepen the breath so the womb expands into the palms. On the inhale, and on the exhale, maybe you draw the navel in and expand through the back of the womb. So creating a wider space for you to dwell. And how nourishing under the full moon, when so much of us is revealed in the light, we get to retreat into this dark cocoon, the sacred cocoon, like we're going under the surface and allowing every place to be touched by the darkness. One of the names of God is Lila or night. So it's not a darkness that is devoid of divinity, but it is the dark aspect of God that is washing over us with nourishment. So inviting in the night. And in the womb space, we're not alone, but we are connected to those on the other side. Right? When we were first in the womb, it says in the Midrash, in the oral Torah, that we learned all the mysteries of the universe from the angels and from souls on the other side. So we're connected to our ancestors. So if you feel ready, we'll send out a call to any ancestor that is available and that is willing to guide us towards illumination, towards our wholeness. So I'll say the Hebrew chant, and you can also use your own words. This one is the traditional chant, Ulu, Ulu, Ushbizin, Kadashin. Enter, enter, holy guests, to my Sukkah space. Ulu, Ulu, Ushbizin, Kadashin. Enter, enter, holy guests, into my Sukkah space. Say it one more time. Ulu, Ulu, Ushbizin, Kadashin. Enter, enter, holy guests, into my Sukkah space. Keep your breath flowing as you make yourself available to any helpful, wise, and well ancestor or ancestral plant that is next to you. As you call in the spirit, just notice any emotional quality or presence. It could be a color or a gentle tingle or an emotion that comes through you, a visual or a sensation. You may also feel the presence inside of you or beside you, in front of you, behind you, above or below you. And once you are ready, whether you feel a presence or you're holding your plant close to you, go ahead and whisper a question towards this being. It can be any question. One even as simple as, please show me guidance towards my illumination. Or if you have a particular question, go ahead and whisper it, and we'll spend time in silence receiving any answer from any direction, from any way that you receive. Could be so subtle, like a heartbeat, like a color, like a memory, like an inner knowing. But the practice now is just asking and then listening. What guidance do I need to receive right now? You may be receiving in stillness, and maybe you're receiving through movements of your body, and just let that come naturally. And if at any point you begin to lose connection or focus, just come back to your breath and come back to the womb space around you, both being present in yourself and in the transcendent divine space encompassing you. This next chant will be asking these ancestral guides not just to come, but to sit and dwell with us as we move into the rest of the month. Tivu, tivu, tivu. Sit, sit, sit. Ushpizin Kadashin, holy, holy guests. Sit with me in my sukkah space. Tivu, tivu, tivu. Ushpizin Kadashin. Sit, sit, sit with me, holy guests, in my sukkah space. Tivu, tivu, tivu. Ushpizin Kadashin. Sit with me, sit with me, sit with me in my holy sukkah space. Just taking some breaths here. Just your vibrating presence alone, allowing your guides to open to you. And knowing that some messages that do not show up now can continue to show up over the course of the next few days or weeks. And the more that we call upon this pathway and keep it open, the more we allow these guides to continue showing us what we need to know. So whether you received a subtle message or no message at all, or an abundant message, it's all okay. It's just the beginning of opening our channel. Remember, we're in the womb space for 9 full months, or so much time, and we're just entering right now together. So wherever you are, let's invite in compassion, and we'll take a few breaths. Bringing awareness back into the body, wiggling the toes and fingers, and sending gratitude to the plants, to the guides, to Miriam, the Ushpizin of the day, and any ancestor that you may have called upon. And just sealing our connection with gratitude, and then gently opening our eyes and coming back into the container together. And just remembering that this is really slow work and we're in it as a group. So if one of us opened up a channel, it's going to help all of us. And it's going to come in different stages and different times. And we can return to this practice of inviting our ancestors over time. So I'd love to open up the floor to anyone who wants to share, who feels called to share. Mitten put some prompts in the chat. Anything that came to you, you're welcome to share. What messages did you receive from your ancestors or plants? What else may have opened or been illuminated? So does anyone feel called? Jenny?